Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada, before he left this world, he did prepare all of us for his departure. Certainly, when reporters would ask him about who would lead the movement after he's gone, he said, I would live forever by my books. So Srila Prabhupada always put a lot of stress on his books. And if we look in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see how he dedicated first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, to my spiritual master, he lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. So Srila Prabhupada encouraged us, follow his instructions, very important. We have to know Prabhupada's instructions, we have to know them by studying his books very carefully. Very important for all of us as devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement. We want to know what was Prabhupada's instructions and dedicate our life to following these instructions. Srila Prabhupada was very courageous in presenting Krishna consciousness. We heard one time that Prabhupada was describing when he was a young man, a young boy even, he climbed up on top of the Victoria Memorial. And devotees were surprised and said, Prabhupada, you went all the way on top of the Victoria Memorial as a young boy? Were you not afraid you could fall down? And Srila Prabhupada said, did I not go to America alone with hardly any money? And said, yes. Another devotee, I was hearing one devotee give class. He was describing a Prabhupada pastime, which I'd never heard before. He said that one devotee approached Prabhupada and asked him, what do you feel when you chant Hare Krishna? And Prabhupada immediately replied, I feel no fear. So, Abhay Charan, A.C. Bhaktivedanta stands for Abhay Charan, Abhay meaning without fear. Srila Prabhupada lived up to his name. He was fearless. And we see in his preaching of Krishna consciousness how he was totally fearless and very outspoken. We can hardly imagine today, you know, people coming along and preaching simple living, high thinking. Who wants that? Everybody's thinking about sense gratification. They all want to have the modern lifestyle. We live surrounded by computers and mobile phones, high-speed communications and transportation systems. And Prabhupada comes along all the way from Vrindavan, India, at the age of 70. You know, in Asian countries, when you're older, people give you a little more respect. But in the West, to be old is to be dirt. You're the lowest. People don't look up to old people usually in the West. But Prabhupada comes along at the age of 70 and somehow he captures all of the youth. He gets everybody attracted to Krishna consciousness, particularly young men and women. They took up Krishna consciousness with great enthusiasm and vigor. And by Prabhupada's instructions, they were seen on all the cities of USA chanting and dancing. that Hare Krishna had become well known all over USA. I don't know about today. I don't know what people would say. They'd maybe say, where have you been? What happened? But anyway, at least in Prabhupada's time, and for some time afterwards, it was there. The Krishna consciousness movement was very active and very much alive. And behind everything was Srila Prabhupada's instructions to push on the Sankirtan movement. Prabhupada was outspoken. He taught life comes from life. The scientists are talking about creating life, and they're synthesized DNA and RNA, and they're talking about one day we're going to, conquer all the miseries of the material existence. And Srila Prabhupada comes along and speaks. Life does not come from matter. Life comes from life. And this material world is a place of misery. Everyone's thinking we're here to enjoy. And Prabhupada comes along and bursts a bubble and tells everyone there is no enjoyment anywhere in this material world. So bold, so outspoken. Women's liberation was coming up. Prabhupada comes along and said, woman's brain is half the size of a man's brain. So bold, so outspoken, so much courage he had to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While people are celebrating, oh, America have landed a man on the moon, Srila Prabhupada said, that is not the moon. Srila Prabhupada revealed the gospel truth according to the Vedic literature. He burst the illusions of the material world. He spoke the truth without compromising, very boldly, very forcefully, very convincingly. I know I was convinced when I heard him, and I just pray that I can hold on to his lotus feet and continue to try to do some little service on behalf of Srila Prabhupada's Krishna consciousness movement. One of the phrases which Srila Prabhupada gave us was that your love for me will be shown by how you all cooperate with each other after I am gone. So I pray that I can always cooperate nicely with all the devotees, even though I may not always agree with everything which happens in the Krishna consciousness movement. But I pray that I will always remain in Krishna consciousness, and I will stay loyal to Srila Prabhupada, because this movement represents Srila Prabhupada's will. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.